you ever gone to a store with 50,000 rupiah and realized that you can buy favorite things than you could a few years ago? Or maybe a loaf of bread that used to cost 5,000 rupiah now costs 6,000 or even 7,000 rupiah. You might also have heard people talking about the US dollar getting stronger while the Indonesian rupiah is getting weaker. But have you ever wondered why this happens? Why the prices keep going up? The answer is inflation. In today's video, I will explain what inflation is, what causes, and how it affects our daily life. But before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Nabila Maheswari Indah Putri with student ID C1B025202 from Study Program Management. Okay, let's get started. So, what is inflation? Inflation is the continuous increase in the prices of goods and services over time. In simpler words, inflation means that money loses some of its value. Because of that, the same amount of money can buy fewer things than before. For example, if a loaf of bread costs 5,000 today and 6,000 next year, your money has less purchasing powers than before. Now, let's talk about the causes of inflation. Okay, the first cause is demand pull inflation. This happens when people want to buy more goods than businesses can provide. Imagine a bakery that can make only 10 loaves of bread each day suddenly have 20 people want to buy bread. Since there is not enough bread for everyone, the bakery increases the price. The second cause is supply side inflation. This happens when the supply of goods decreases. For example, bad weather damages the wheat farm, making flour harder to obtain. Because bakery has less flour, they produce less bread. When bread becomes scarce, its price goes up. The third cause is cost push inflation. This happens when production cost increases. For example, the price of flour, fuel, electricity, or worker wage rise. The bakery now spend more money to make bread, so it increases the selling price. The last or the fourth cause is monetary inflation. This happens when too much money circulates in the economy. Imagine everyone suddenly has more money, but the bakery still produces only 10 loaves of bread. More people will compete to buy the same bread, causing prices to rise. Another factor that can contribute to inflation is weaker currency. When Indonesian rupiah becomes weaker against the US dollar, imported goods become more expensive. This includes fuel, machinery, and raw materials used by business. As costs increase, the companies may raise their price, which can contribute to inflation. At this point, you might have a question. I know. Why do prices keep increasing every year? Why don't they just go down? The main reason is that production costs usually increase over time. Wage, transportation, fuel, electricity, and raw material will often become more expensive. At the same time, people incomes and spending also tend to increase. Because of this factor, prices generally rise little by little each year. Now, here's another interesting question. Why doesn't the government simply print more money so everyone can buy more things? At first, this sounds really like a perfect solution. If everyone had more money, everyone could buy more goods. But there is a problem. Printing more money does not create more goods. Imagine there are only 10 loaves of bread in a town. If everyone suddenly has twice as much money, there are still only 10 loaves of bread available. People will compete to buy the same bread and so will increase the price. As a result, price rise and value of money falls. A real example of this happened in Zimbabwe. In the late 20s, the government printed huge amount of money to solve economic problems. Instead of making people richer, the price increased extremely fast. The situation is called hyperinflation. Zimbabwe even issues a $100 trillion banknote. It sounds like a huge amount of money, but it could buy very little because prices were rising almost every day. This example shows that simply printing more money does not make country richer. It can actually make inflation much worse. Now, let's look at the effect of inflation. First, inflation reduces purchasing power. People can buy fewer goods and services with the same amount of money. Second, inflation reduces the value of saving because money becomes less valuable over time. Third, inflation increases the cost of living, making it more difficult for families to manage their daily expenses. However, not that inflation is bad. A low and stable inflation rate is considered normal in a growing economy. It can encourage spending, investment, and business growth. The problem happens when inflation becomes too high or difficult to control. In conclusion, inflation is the continuous increase in the prices of goods and services over time. It can be caused by high demand, limited supplies, rising production costs, and too much money circulating in economy. Inflation affects everyone because it reduces purchasing powers and increases the cost of living. Therefore, understanding inflation helps us make better financial decisions and better understand the economy around us. Thank you for your attention. That's all for today. See you in my next video. Bye bye.